applicants who made it, like Dr. Harman here, who very generously and kindly volunteer their time and the very precious time that's left before they, like, for example, Harman is back in her home country, and before she leaves back to the US, she's spared an hour early morning to talk to you all. So I first want to thank Harman and everyone else who's going to follow the Pathfinders to come and help all of you. And I really believe, all of us do believe that this will be helpful. So I urge all of you to ask questions to, I know that Harman is a very ethical, genuine person. She'd give you the information that she knows, she's gone through, and that'll be great. And I'm going to hand over this to her to introduce herself. I think her story should come from her. But before that, a small request for all of you is that if anyone's in a position to unmute and speak while we open the FAQs, or show up your face, I think that's the first step to being comfortable with interviews and with meeting people and networking and all of that. So let this be step one. No one's judging anyone here. So if you can show your face and speak, please go ahead and do that. Thanks, Nishanti, for starting that. And yes, let's go. Thanks, Dr. PC. Dr. Harman, over to you. A little bit of introduction and your journey for our listeners to know what kind of questions to ask you. And I know, for one, that your story is very inspiring. So I think it's time for them to hear it.
Yeah, of course, of course. So first of all, thank you, Flynn. And I'm really honored that you give me this opportunity to share my journey. And so this is Harman Sandhu, and I have been practicing as a dentist in India for almost 15 plus years. So that's why I always thought that if I can do, anybody can do it. And ultimately, everybody knows it has been like 2 cycles. This is my second cycle. This was my second cycle. And finally, I got accepted in Tufts School of Dental Medicine. Thank God, like with the God's grace and with everybody's support, my teachers, guides, family, everybody played a role. And that's it. I'm here and I'm all there to, and the disclaimer is, this is my personal experience. Whatever I went through, whatever I feel, everything might not be correct. It might be different for a different person. But in my experience, whatever answers that I can give, I felt, this is right. I'm all ready to share. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you, Harman. I think before we begin the question, so we always go with an FAQ format because that's what everyone wants to, of course, hear directly from you. If you can give us a very quick timeline of your journey from your BDS until today, like a quick, brief summary, so that they know what pathway you have taken and the questions can also align accordingly. That's okay.
Yeah, so if I have to, it's kind of tell me about yourself question kind of thing that we all prepare for the interview.
Yeah.
So yes, very briefly, I would say that I completed my dentistry back in 2005. So it's been long, and due to, of course, I had always dreamt of, I wanted to go to a US dental school and I wanted to do that. But due to certain family circumstances and certain limitations, I could not pursue that time. So ultimately now the circumstances were favorable and I thought, why not now? Why do I have to think that, oh, fine, it's done, I don't want to anymore, though I have been practicing and I'm running a good practice here. So, but still, I thought, why not start now? So as I said, this was my second cycle, and I appeared in 2023 for my national boards, and 2023 almost mid. That year I really could not apply because I was quite late and I was preparing for the, it takes long for the essays and letters and CVs because I was totally new. And as many of you might be like, I was getting introduced to the process, like how it's done. So I applied in 2024 and ultimately I got in 25. So yes, my experience mattered a lot throughout because knowingly, unknowingly, I did not know back then, like many years back, that I will be applying again. It was in my mind, but yes, because I could not in the beginning, so I just left this. So yes, those volunteering, research, but yes, I would definitely say that, but these 2-3 years, I was totally into it. I was totally focused on the process. I was totally focused, like I have to get this acceptance. And through that, I, as you guys are doing it, I sought guidance from many around, and improving my profile, improving like what the schools like, and reading here and there. But ultimately, I would just say that I have learned one thing, one crux that I would like to share is that everybody says that that time I would say, how do they mean it? Like, when they say it's your story, where you feel connected, where I have seen much better CVs than mine getting rejected, and I have seen simpler CVs getting accepted. This is because when you are totally into it, totally passionate, and of course, we have to do the things what the schools are looking for. I'm not saying that, but for me, I would say that your SOP, your LORs, they speak totally about you. That's unique you, because CVs can match many research, publications, your experiences, your volunteering, everything can match with others. Now, what the schools, when they look at your application, okay, this is same INBD, okay, first attempt, it's fine, first, second, this is the GPA, this is this, these are the similar things almost. And I feel it's very difficult for them to even like select like what to leave, what to take in. But for me, what worked was your SOP. And I have been in touch with other candidates like who got accepted. And I learned something from them was that your unique story, your LORs and your SOP, they matter a lot. Yeah, that's what I can say. That worked for me. So please be unique. And when you write the SOP, when you get your LORs, feel connected with them. Okay, this is me talking, and it works. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
I'm glad that you said that, Harman, because we absolutely agree with that. I want to an example to cite for that is Meenakshi was just telling me yesterday about an applicant of ours who's been doing this for some 3-4 years. She's been in this process and trying to nail their acceptance, and how over the years she realized while walking into these schools that these people interviewing you are actually really smart. And I don't mean just academically smart with their CV. Obviously, they're qualified dentists, but they have people skills, right? They see through your story, whether you're faking it, whether you're actually doing it, and they see that spark. So maybe that's what you should be intimidated about in a good way, and not their qualification, right? Like about the fact that they can see through you. So Harman, just calling back to something you said, you applied first in which year again, your first cycle?
24.
And then you 24. Okay. So a lot of people do the most important, I mean, the biggest worry that people have in terms of being a reapplicant is that, like I applied once, I didn't make it. Most people don't make it, but then, it's a fear when you're there, right? So you did say that you did a few things to improve your profile. So what were those things, and was it hard for you to decide what to do? Because there are so many options, right? There's fellowship and preceptorship and volunteering and in all of that. So how did you decide what you want to do in that 1 year to better your profile, and what do you think really changed in terms of experience for the application?
Yes. So if I go one by one, there are 10,000 things that when you start seeking guidance and when you start talking to people, that I did this, and I was, like, I admit it very honestly, I was as confused as anybody would be. Like, because there are limitations as a foreign trained dentist, especially when you're on a B1, B2. I would like to add that. So we have like, how can we, everybody below you should have a US experience, do this preceptorship or do this, So ultimately I thought that I want to share is that I just want to continue doing what I have been, though I added a fellowship, of course, because then it's like, I would say that, do not get confused. Do not get intimidated by what the other person is doing, because that is possible for that person, but this is not possible for me. So try to find out things what are available within your area or within your limitations. So I didn't know that, but bench test preps, they matter a lot. Because ultimately we have to go for the bench test, right? So one thing I learned was that if you do a bench test prep officially and you put it in your CV and you tell them, then that shows that, okay, this person is ready to learn. This person is at this stage being a dentist. That person is preparing for the applications, ready to learn. One thing. Second thing, I did a fellowship because that was available to me. That was available within my budget. So that's why I am saying again, whatever is available, because everything is important, everything is significant. Do not think that person is doing such a big course going to that country, but I'm not doing that. Don't think like that. Whatever is possible for you, please do it, because ultimately it shows you're still working, you're still learning, you're still improving your profile. That is important. Nothing else. Which country, which area, that's not important. So I did my fellowship in my country. I continued volunteering, which I was already doing back in, like, before I applied, like whatever. So I continued doing that. I added on to that because I did a little more work with the volunteering. I traveled across the nation doing that. So that's something I added, like instead of just sitting in my state, like in Chandigarh, because this is where I belong. So earlier it was just limited to this area. So I traveled across the nation with I was associated with the Rotary India and all of that stuff. So so something that I could do. I knew I can travel in my nation. I knew I did my fellowship with IDA. That was possible for me. Then, of course, I was continuing education courses with IDA and wherever I was getting the opportunity. Because ultimately, as I said, and again, I'm repeating, it's just that you should, your CV or your profile should show that you're into the process. That's it. It doesn't matter like how costly, which country, it doesn't matter to them. Yeah, whatever. Maybe because I would not go for an ortho course, orthodontics, even if I was getting one, because I don't like to do that. I went for some endo course. I went for some fellowship in clinical research because I had very little experience in research. And when I got the opportunity for fellowship in a clinical research, that showed that I have added something really significant to my profile, which was actually lacking. So see what is lacking, what is possible, do that. So ultimately, I can say I did a fellowship in research. I was continuing with the volunteering. I was doing some CE courses with endodontics. Yeah, that's about it.
Sounds good.
Mhm.
You Harman mentioned to everyone, I mean, that she did 10,000 things. And I think that exactly that should be the attitude. It doesn't mean that you do 10,000. Often when I talk to applicants, it reminds me of that acronym NEAT, I think, NEAT, which is non-exercise activity. I think to just be, if you want to lose weight or if you want to move around and be active. So something like that, like, it's just as small as taking an elevator or, sorry, don't take an elevator, taking the stairs or, like moving around and all of that, which will eventually add up. So her being on the move in her own country itself would have definitely shown the initiative. So I love that analogy, Harman. And I think it's we don't get questions this early on in the webinar. So I think it's the clarity that you're bringing in. So maybe we'll begin taking a few questions here, right? Dr. Asmita is asking whether you gave ADAT.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Harman, can you hear us now? Am I
Yes,
audible?
yes.
Okay. Did you give ADAT? Is Dr. Asmita's question.
ADAT, no, I did not appear for ADAT because ADAT is not a requirement for all the schools. It was just for few schools, I think Michigan, and then Pittsburgh looks for it, right? So I did not, I wanted to put my time in something else because 90% of schools are not looking for it as a foreign trained dentist. So yes, I did not appear for that. It depends what you're looking at, I feel.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Dr. Bhavya is asking whether you had any difficulties while getting your letter of recommendation from your school because you graduated long ago.
Not really, not really, because ultimately I was in touch with my professors always. And yeah, I did not find any difficulty because I contacted them immediately, and they are aware that candidates have been this is a process where candidates apply anytime, like from fresh graduates to experienced ones. And then when they have worked with them, I have been a student, so yeah, that was not really a problem. Yeah, I contacted them, I told them, in fact they were more proud. They said, of course, why not, like our student is doing something and we can help in that process, why not? So yes, I don't have problem with that.
That's lovely. I love that the school was proud. Dr. Bhavya and others, if in case you are finding difficulty, if your school belongs to that category, then try your best. But there have been situations where people cannot get through, like if it's 15 plus years, and then you can get another letter instead. But inform the schools you're applying to that this is the reason why you don't have the originally intended letter. So I'm talking about last resort, right? In case you can't do it, then if you can't help, then just make sure you communicate to them and then get the next best letter. But try your best to do it, especially the dean, because they're just looking for an official formal attestation that you belong to that school and your code of conduct was good. So that's that. Dr. PC is asking, what was your criteria for shortlisting schools while you applied?
Honestly, I mean, because I researched and I saw what fits into, like, for example, ADAT. If ADAT is not in my profile and thought that Michigan would be a difficult place to get in, so yes, I left that out. And then the geographical area, because my family, like, they stay in Los Angeles. So yes, I did focus on the West Coast. So that was the thing. And else, not yes, like, the schools, they are I would look, I research the websites and the past, how they are selecting the candidates, how open they are to the foreign trained, and especially who are residing international or who are on B1 B2. So that was one of the things. So there are many schools who do not take candidates, like Chicago, I feel, Illinois, right? They do not take, right? So I wasn't applying to.
Has a leaning, huh?
Yes, and then there are certain schools who really look into taking into the experienced candidates, like Colorado, Tufts for that matter, Boston. So these were the schools. So I looked, like, where my experience. So there are certain schools who want just fresh graduates. So yes, I left those out. So basically, I would say that, depending on your profile and certain major criteria, we don't have to look into minor things that everybody is accepting. And then and secondly, yes, the finances, but I did not look into that because there were other criteria, because mine was like, okay, I have such a long experience and which school would accept me. So that was a priority for me, looking into that. But yes, finances, you can say, yeah, that's about it. I think that's what I was looking into.
Basically, a personal approach, which is obviously what
Yes,
works, right?
personal. Yes, just research the website, see the past, how they are taking the candidates, what kind of candidate. I mean, you need to do lots of research personally as well. So
100%.
the way we are now doing a webinar, and the candidate from that specific school, now my profile. Okay, I'm into Tufts. That's how okay, fine. What all she has? Okay, she got into Tufts. Oh, does the major criteria matches mine? Okay, fine. Now this is the school where I can. So that's how, like, it's the YouTube videos and all of that about the schools that I researched. That's how I did it.
Yes. So the doctor has also asked which fellowship you did. I think you mentioned it, the research fellowship. Is there something more you would like to add about it, or do we move on?
Yes, I said that because I did not have much research experience in my profile. So that was something that came up, and I just jumped into it, because there were other fellowships too, but they were not aligning with my timeline, because ultimately, there's a timeline where we have a limitation of that too. So fellowship in clinical research was something aligning with my timeline, and I learned the new methodologies about research, how it works. So that was also, I was looking into it because I hadn't done it. So yes, that's it. I mean, do you want me to get into the details, what I learned in research or something like that?
That was the intention. So I think you covered the intent of the question.
Yes.
So that's fine. And if you have any more questions, you can put it in, Dr. PC. We have a lot of questions coming in, so we'll move on to the next one. Did you have multiple attempts on your INBD, Harman? Or was it the first time?
It was a single one. Yeah, it was the first one.
Okay. So Dr. Mrudulika's question is, I cleared my INBD in the second attempt. May I know which colleges accept the INBD second time candidate? I'm assuming you might not know be aware of this information.
No, so I just know that Rutgers looks a lot into INBD attempts and your GPA. But other schools, I haven't known that really look into it. So if there is something that, if suppose, like I said, that I had this this something I was lacking was that I did not have much of a US experience. Then I was strengthening, as I said, or maybe I wasn't very strong in my research thing. So I did a fellowship in that. So if you feel okay, INBD, a second attempt, definitely the school will not look into it if you have strengthened your other things like your whole profile. So as they say holistic, they mean holistic. They will not look at INBD and sideline your application. They do not do that, right? And they will not just look at my INBD or anybody else's my INBD. Oh, the GPA is 4, the INBD is first attempt. Let's just take this. No, it doesn't happen like that. So if we have something, we know this is a weak point in my profile, or this is something I feel, I don't want the school should be really highlighting this or taking into it. I feel strengthen your profile in other ways so that they are like, oh, wow. Because second attempt can happen with anybody. Academically, a second attempt or people with lower GPAs are getting in because this is life. It happens. Maybe you're sick. Maybe you could not do first time, or there are 10,000 things, and they know that. So INBD second attempt is not a big thing, but yes, I just know of Rutgers. Yes, they look a lot into GPA and INBD attempts. That's it.
MS, if you remember anything else, you can type it in the chat box. But like Harman said, holistic is not a like a poster word for the US admissions. They actually do look at it holistically, and they do consider multiple factors. So Dr. Mridulika, I don't think you need to be too much worried. And I think I remember the story, so I think you should be good to start applying and go. Dr. PC, did you do anything in the US like shadowing a dentist or CE courses? Anything in the US were you able to do, Harman, before your application?
Yes, CE courses I wasn't able to, other than the online ones, because as I said, it wasn't allowing me financially and to be traveling again and again. But shadowing, yes, observership, I did do that with 2 dentists in LA as well as in East Coast side. So observe, because for myself also, it wasn't just for my profile, but it was for my own self also, because of making a decision was a big factor, and I wanted to know how they work and how they have studied from the schools and how the clinics work there. Yes, observership was one. And yes, I would stress that, yes, the schools do look into that if you have one letter from a US dentist, because that made a huge difference in my profile other than anything else, because I could not do see. So that's what I'm saying. Like, look at my thing. I haven't done any course from US. It was just observership from private dentists, nothing else. So do not look at others, see what you can do. And secondly, yes, at least something like observership or maybe a CE course, or maybe whatever is possible, at least one US experience, try to do that. And if you can get a letter of recommendation, because some in some schools like Colorado, I think, if I am like not forgetting, they do stress, like even Tufts, like one letter. NYU also, they want one letter from a US dentist. I mean, or they do say or, but they do prefer. So yes, that matters.
This was Dr. PC. Dr. PC, like she said, try your best. If not possible, then I mean, it's okay, but it would definitely add value to your application, because the competition is the elephant in the room, right? There are so many people applying. So and a lot of them would have US experience. So from that perspective, it'll be really good for you to try. Dr. Asmita asks, what was your experience during the interview sessions? Did you only interview at Tufts or any other schools as well?
No, I had cleared Colorado interview as well. I was at NYU as well. So I went to Loma Linda. So yes, I have been like, yeah, I have a good experience with the interviews.
Yeah, can you mention NYU and Colorado as schools that do prefer fresh graduates? Did you say that? No, you said experienced.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Got it. Okay. Colorado does. I mean, they do take a mix, but then you're right. Colorado is a school where they do take experience as well. Yeah, equally important. They don't really, differentiate. So, do you want to talk a little bit about how it was, the interview sessions?
Yes, definitely. Because interview was something, the best experience I had was at Tufts, because it was a total candid interview. And but even others, like all the schools wherever I went, so same thing. Like earlier, I was, when I would attend these webinars and talk to people, and they would say, be yourself. So actually, I was myself at Tufts. And maybe I think that's why I got in. Like, you do prepare, of course, with the questions, with the answers. You do need to prepare, no doubt about that. But when you're there, just be open. Like, then that that confidence and that passion and that honesty should ooze out from your face. And then you really do not need to prepare, or you need to remember answers, or I should say, or I should not say. That doesn't happen. But that was with Tufts that happened, because the interview, Dr. Perry, he's Dr. Ron Perry, the program director, he's very much involved with the program. And almost like when you will get in, you will also experience that when you get invites for the interviews. So even before the interviews, the group of candidates which is called for that particular day. So the program director, before starting the interview, everybody, they have this formal introduction or one meeting with whole group, and they introduce the program. And from that, that is something that was like changing for me, because I was just sitting and observing what he's looking at, how he's talking, how he wants his candidates to be, how he wants his class to be. Like your observation, instead of just being fearful and thinking, oh my God, how is it going to go? What will I do in the interview? Waiting for that moment. Once you step into the school, just forget everything. Now you're already there, right? So just start observing all the candidates, whatever you contact or get in touch with the program director or whatever. Like with Tufts, this was like we had a meeting, and then that was something changing for me, because he made us very comfortable, and everybody's like that. Even with NYU, it was like that. They do a meeting, they make you very comfortable, and they talk about the program. So then that how do I have to be? So yes, the questions were general, very general. Tell me about yourself, why US, the questions that we usually prepare for the interview, but depends how you answer and present yourself, and how much honest you are with your story. Because while he was interviewing Dr. Ron Perry, so he had this whole profile in his hand while I was talking. Your SOP, your CV should match what you're saying. Especially your SOP, because that's how you write it, and somehow I was very honest with that interview. Of course, with the others too, because I cleared the Colorado one also. They are intimidating in the beginning, but I would say just be yourself. The questions are general. I don't want to talk about the questions. There's no point. I would say, they ask you this, why this school, why that school, why US, why after. Okay, then they would just pick up one experience of yours, maybe from your CV. What did you do in that? So these are the kind of, because they don't have much of a time. They spend like 3 to 4 minutes or maybe 5 minutes with you. With that, they might pick a question from your CV. So be prepared with your CV. Whatever you have written, you should be thorough with it. Just open. Somebody, okay, what's your name? I would say, oh yeah, my name is Harman Sandhu. So that way you should be open. And with all other questions. So just prepare questions according to yourself. Do not look what the others are answering. That's what I can see.
100%. I think that is a spot on answer. And Dr. Mridulika, you have asked whether any preceptorship course or hands-on CE will elevate your profile. I think just to reiterate what Harman mentioned, I think that's what she was saying. There's a big pool of things to be done. Just choose from that, depending on what matches your liking, your interest, your finances, your time, all of that. And then, all of them are important. But a hands-on course would add value, like she mentioned, a bench prep course, a hands-on course. And I remember people telling me that a mistake, so if you all can learn from it, something that people do is they go for these big courses, either in schools or at Duggins or Stevenson's, and it's really good, right? They learn everything, but then they do not practice, because then you get caught up with the application or with life. So without practice, you sort of forget the basics again, or you lose touch. So if you're doing anything, please try to have a home bench set up or go to your clinic and try to practice. And keep the motor running, right? And so you don't forget, the muscle memory stays refined. Dr. Vanika, yes, Harman.
With the bench prep, I would say that whenever you're preparing, if you're taking a course from some place, we go to Stevenson's, or there are many in India as well, from where I prepared. So just take the pictures. because especially with Tufts, sometimes they ask you, okay, fine, you have done bench prep. Okay, can you show your work? Whatever work you're doing. So just take those pictures and keep them with you. Prepare a profile of work you're doing so that you're like 100% prepared when you go for an interview. And because sometimes I was prepared, I took my pictures, whatever I did with my bench prep and everything, because Tufts has almost 3 rounds of interviews. So one is with Dr. Perry, and then there is a clinical interview, and then there is with faculty. So, please take pictures, whatever work you're doing, the hands-on work, especially you're doing. So make a file with them. And then if you're answering, they pick anything from your CV. Okay, so this is something you're on. So can you show your work? That time we cannot open a social profile, or we can't say, oh, yes, I did it, but I don't know. And in fact, Dr. Perry has gone to that extent that he has asked his candidates to email him the work they have done. So instead of waiting for that, please take your work with you. They ask, they don't ask, it's okay. Anyways, you're well prepared. Yeah, that's what I want to add.
Amazing. Especially for Tufts, you all can very confidently keep it in mind because this is first-hand experience. And I think other schools also would like to, which makes me I've been thinking about this for a while. Are you a Call of Duty fan? I see the background. I've been thinking about this throughout the. I see the poster. Is that you or is that your families?
Because of the network, I had to shift here. This is my son's room.
That's okay. I'm just asking. Okay, what you said reminded me about the COVID time interviews, and how we would tell our applicants that putting things in the background which you are interested in can strike up a conversation. So somehow my eyes have been fixated there trying to get this answered. All right. So moving on, Dr. Vanika asks, what if the dean from where your schooling is done changes? Do they have to mention in the LOR that they did not directly supervise you? Is that something you would like to answer, Harman?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. And it's honest answer coming up. It's easy to coordinate with the dean because you tell him or her that, yes, this is something. It's easy and comfortable for them to write because, anyways, we are professionals, and being ethical and being honest is very easy for us, right? So deans, they are in high position, and it's very difficult for us to go and tell them, oh, can you write this for me? It's uncomfortable for us too, and even we don't even know that whether the dean could do for that for us, right? So yes, very honestly, my dean in the very first, in the beginning of the LOR, she had written that I haven't been indirectly in touch with her, but from her professors, from her this, from her. So that's how she mentioned my thing, that I have known from her faculty or from her professor, whatever, the person who can really talk about you, your old professor, or when you were in the school. So it's perfectly fine. Because that's honesty is something US dental schools are very particular about. Ethics and honesty is very important. Whatever it is, just put in. Do not try to hide it. It'll be easy for you. 100%. And they can make out, if we are maybe I graduated 5 years back, 7 years back, they know that deans do change. And how come this person knows you like that? That brings a question mark. So yeah, that's what I want to say.
100%. And Vanika, if this something that we do tend to ask the admission committee members, us and everyone, applicants on these CAAPID fairs and all that, is the same thing. If my dean is different, then do I get the letter from the previous dean or not? And you would probably hope that they ask you to get the letter from your actual dean because they might know you better, and you hoping that the letter will be good. But then all of them unanimously in one voice say get it from the current dean. So they know they are themselves asking for the current dean's letter. So the letterhead and their signature is important, and more than anything, honesty, like Harman said. So please go ahead, no problems there. Dr. Samiha asks, I think she's the one whose only face I can see. Hi, Samiha. How do you recommend for improving hands-on experience for fresh graduates? Apart from working as a dental assistant, then the hands-on courses in the US are very expensive. Would you be able to suggest any ideas to work around this?
So as I said earlier, please work on or get the hand courses in your country. There are plenty of available, right? Whatever is possible and something that you like to do, right? This is, as I said, I did not wanted to do any orthodontics course, or maybe you like some surgical course. So there are plenty. If I talk about India, even with IDA, like there are tons of courses coming up, and they're very cheap. They're very cheap, and they are like when you do it with IDA, that is something when it reflects on your CV or on your profile. Okay, fine, it's Indian Dental Association. So instead of doing a course from some private practitioner or something like that, this matters a lot, and they're much cheaper. So please, I would say find it in your area, find it in your country. There are tons of available. So whatever subject you like to do or you get connected to, do any one of them.
Yes, Samiha, please go ahead and unmute. You can converse with Dr. Harman.
Mhm.
Hey, how are you, Dr. Harman?
Thank
Congratulations.
you so much. Thank you.
So just a follow-up question with what you said. So currently I'm working as a dental assistant right now. Sorry with my voice, I have the flu. So I have been thinking that if I should go back to India and, get some hands-on, or should I, still stick to my job and get this done? So I'm in a bit of confusion because probably these fellowship courses are a little longer, and staying away from home and everything would create a bit mess. But it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. But I'm a bit confused, if it would be a right step to drop this and go further do that.
Yes, I would recommend, yes, that if you can do, like suppose you see that you're already working as a dental assistant, and that adds multiple things to your profile, right? So one dental assistant is one that is already there, you're doing it, right? What more can you add? What different can you add? That even while working as a dental assistant, that was not just one thing I was doing. You get shorter hands-on courses also. You don't want to do a fellowship, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to, but you can go for shorter. There are week courses, there are 10 days courses, there are 3-4 days courses, and
And this is you're specifically talking about in the home country in India, right?
yes, you can do that. If it's like, so I don't know, like you're already in, you're in US, right? If I heard right, I'm
Yes.
not.
Yes.
Yes. So you get lots of courses, hands-on 3 days, 2 days, and at a much cheaper price, I think in US as well, if you can afford that. But please do that. Just don't go on with the simple dental assistantship. That's already there in your profile,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then when you write your CV, okay, fine. Oh, she has been just doing it, and okay, fine. Everybody's doing that. What else can you do?
Right.
To improve your work, to. And second thing, it shows you're learning, right? You're ready to learn. You want to learn more. So that is something, yes, that is very significant for the US schools, that this person is ready to learn. Even that's why I said, like, if you can do a bench course officially, do it and add some certificate that I did it. People might think bench courses for ourselves. We are just doing to improve our skills. No, it's not like
Yes.
that. For you schools, it's like, okay, you're learning. Anything you're doing is you're learning. That's very important for them.
Yes, I have been hearing a lot about, people saying that don't add your bench prep course experience to your CV or anywhere else because it only shows that, okay, you don't know how to do this. This is what I've heard from people before, but I don't know how right that is or wrong that is. It seems to be now when you say with so much clarity that add every experience that there is, keep doing on and on, it does make sense a lot. So thank you so much.
Yes, because one of the candidates back then told me that one of the program directors in which school, I just have to recall, he did say that, have you done any bench prep? So that's why I said, do it, carry the pictures, whatever hands-on courses you're doing. That's
Okay.
important. And officially you're doing it, right?
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Amazing. This is usually a question that we ask during the parting minutes when we're done with the webinar, but since it's come up, I think we can take it now. There's a question asking about what was the most challenging part of the application for you, Harman, and what would be your advice to the future candidates who's working on the application right now? Maybe let's condense it to like top 3 things they should be doing or should not be doing. Dr. Asmita is asking this.
For me, challenging was my tourist visa. That was a big challenge, because as you all are in same position, I was few months back, and very confused that, maybe I would go to US, do some courses, do some this, and financially also, yes, it is burdening. That was a big challenge, and that was something that was I was really worried about, that maybe this is what I have not added very significantly in my profile. Yes, that was the only challenge, because in my country, I was doing everything that I could to improve. And top three things I would say is that, please focus on your SOP and LORs. They're very important, right? And secondly, start preparing for your bench very early on, because when you are in the school for bench, it's highly competitive. And more than competitive, when you're there in that place, you're all, I mean, whatever you might have done in your preps or whatever, like, oh my god, I'm confident, but that time, it's just this chance that I'm getting, and anybody that time is stressful. This is very normal, so but more prepared you are, and that automatically the stress factor goes down. So please start preparing for your bench early on. Mm, yeah, that's about it. And third thing is, please do not worry, do not give up. Um, yes, keep doing things what you can, and with honesty, with ethics. That's what I stress on. That's very important to me, and that's very important. And that automatically raises your confidence in whatever you're doing. If you're doing it with what you can connect, and you are doing it with full honesty and full ethics, it automatically, you're like, you can just sleep on, oh fine, I have done everything I could, and I'm getting in, right? And do not look at others' profiles. Please do not look at it. Just look at it, what I can pick, what I can do, what is possible for me. Look at it from that perspective. Don't look at it from, oh, this is something I am lacking. Oh, this person has done this. That is why that person got in. It's nothing like that. Your uniqueness will lead you to acceptance. Yeah, that's about it.
Amazing. Dr. Anshul is asking whether, I think you've covered this question in a way, but I'll still repeat it. Does GPA play a major role? And if you don't mind, could you share your GPA as well?
Yeah, so my GPA was 3.8. It wasn't 4, a perfect GPA. As I said, somebody asked that INBD second attempts. So if you have a lower GPA, a really low GPA, I don't know, so strengthen the rest of the profile and be ready with the answer. What are you going to say when you're asked? Sometimes there are supplementals with few schools, like with CU it is. And CU, and I think UPenn also, they do ask that if there is something that you want to share, or something that is lacking, or a failure, or something, anything so you don't take it as a failure. I'm not saying that, but something that we need, that, wow, I got opportunity to explain this. Then you be ready with that story, that what am I going to tell, and then strengthen rest of your profile. Yeah, that's about it. Otherwise, other than, I just have experience with Rutgers that they do stress on GPA. Rest, if it's a good average GPA, that's fine. That's not only the factor.
Amazing. Dr. Divya, so I'll just quickly reiterate this bit. This is about the dean's letter. So your dean has changed at your university. So like we were talking about before, if your dean has changed, your best case solution is to go to your current dean, the current dean at the school, and ask for a letter. It need not be personal, and they need not mention anything personal about you, because they're the current dean. It's absolutely fine. That's what most schools ask for. Dr. Nitya is asking, Harman, for how many months did you shadow the dentist in the US? How long was your experience?
So it was, because I was on a tourist visa, I said. So but still my family is there. So whenever I go, I would visit for maybe 2 months. Then I would be shadowing for 2 months. Then, making multiple trips. So in total, I would say it was 6 to 7 months. Like it wasn't continuously 6 to 7, but yes, but 1 year, like 23, I shadowed for 1 month, 24, I went twice. So then again, I shadowed for maybe two months. So that's how it was. So I was just continuous doing it continuously.
Did you get a letter from one of these dentists? You did, right? Is what you said.
Yes,
The
yes,
US dentist.
that matters a lot. Yes, if you can get a letter from US dentist, because that adds colors to your profile, one from your dean, one from your faculty. So that's, that speaks multiple people are talking about you, how you're learning, how you're observing, again, in a US kind of a structure. One
Mhm.
from the person whom you learned, your faculty, and from your dean, the overall head, right?
Yes.
So, and moreover, you can really get good letters drafted then, because it's, suppose it's just the dean and two faculty, right?
Mhm.
It's almost what different can two faculties talk, right? Two professors, like, okay, she was there, something, maybe we can change a little bit. But if it's coming from an employer or from a US dentist and one from a dean, that adds a lot. So if you can afford to get that, that's why I am again stressing on the LORs and SOP, because that is something you can make unique. That is something that might not match the other candidate.
Absolutely. This person that you took the letter from, who's in the US, for how long did you shadow at that particular clinic? You did multiple places, but in the place where you got the letter
Multiple,
from,
yes, multiple was just two places. So this was the place where I was, because he was in LA, as I said, that my family is in
families.
LA. So
Okay,
90% of the time I was with this person. That is why I had that guts to take the letter from him.
that's great. Longer time means they can write deeper
Yes.
about you and more about you. True.
Yes, yes. And you build a good relationship then, the more you
Of
are in
course.
touch with this person. 1 month, 15 days really doesn't matter. So even if that, the US dentist also might be like, oh, what should I write in these 15 days? It's very
Yeah,
difficult. Yeah.
precisely. Yes.
Mhm.
There are people who have experiences, but which is very short, like the 15 days or 1 month. So they in turn choose to get the letter from someone else, from maybe back from their home. But they
Mhm.
mention this in the CV. So the experience still holds, of course. Maybe seep it into your SOP, but the letter can come from somewhere else. Dr.
Yes.
Mridulika has a question about TOEFL. I'll just quickly take this, and you can add on, Harman, if there's anything. If I give TOEFL from my home, will that be negative? Is there any rule that I need to write TOEFL in the center only? Dr. Mridulika, this is your safe bet is taking it from the center, because all schools will obviously accept that. But that being said, there are certain schools that do say that they do not mind a home edition. Some examples are AT Still University, Indiana University, NYU has mentioned that they do accept TOEFL IBT special home score. Tufts is what the website says, that Tufts also takes it. Boston has mentioned this in 2024 Caapid Fair. However, schools like Columbia and USC has specifically mentioned they do not take home edition. So the good thing about it, the advantage of taking a test center test, is that then you can apply everywhere, right? But if there's any circumstances that's stopping you from doing it, then just make sure you go school by school and find out which schools are will accept it and will not accept it. But yeah, if you can do it, then go to a test center and do it. And also please check this year's renewed or updated information. Yes, do you have any follow-up question on that? You may unmute and
Yeah.
yeah.
Hello, doctor. How are you doing? First of all, congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, doctor. Thank you so much for asking. So, doctor, you mentioned that it would be good if we get at least one US dentist letter of recommendation. But currently, I'm in Canada and I'm working as a dental assistant in Canada for almost past 3 years. So, if I bring like a Canadian dentist LOR where I work in my office, will that be like equivalent, or should I just get it from a US dentist only? Like, is there, will that be
So,
fine?
yes, I would want to say that, Canadian people who can do it in Canada, they have added benefit. Mine was because I said we are in our home country and it's not possible. So yes, Canadian experience matters a lot. So if you have that, and you can do with that letter as well, that will
Oh,
work. Yes, you don't need
okay.
to almost treat it equally. So you can do that.
Okay, doctor. Thank you so much, doctor.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I actually lost track of the questions. I think I scrolled too much, but there was a question about where did you do your volunteer work, in what kinds of organizations, what kind of community service? I think you mentioned Rotary Club, but a little bit more on what you did. Yeah.
Yeah, I did with Rotary. I am associated with IDA, the camps and everything. So if you're in India, please be a member of IDA and follow their courses and their volunteer work. That helps a lot. And then there is a local community as well, Prabhasra. And then I am associated with the something else I would want to add is that in addition to, people say that it should be just dental volunteering. No, if you get a chance to do any kind of, because I am associated with animal welfare. And that I started back many years back. I mean, that is out of because I love to do that. I am a big animal lover. So that's something that I added that to my CV, because that is something I have been doing for many years. So why am I saying is that it's not just about the dental work. If you get some other get to do any other kind of volunteering work and something that you like to do, or you're getting an opportunity to do that, please do that. So it was with the local communities, with the animal thing. With then there is a Prabhasra, then there is IDA, Rotary. Yes. So whatever I could get the hands-on, I did that.
Amazing. I think the animal bit is a very good example, Harman, I feel, because I feel if you something like that, it makes the applicant unique. I mean, but she's not doing it for the sake of it. She actually is an animal lover, but you're probably thinking there are a lot of animal lovers, right? So unique does not just mean that it should be out of the world, extraordinarily unique. It just means that it has to be you. So it just brings in some flavor to your personality, and it's okay if there are other animal lovers, but you talk about it, it comes from your heart. So that I think is a great example, Harman, for that bit. There's a question from Samiha again about the letters. So did you write your own letter for the cycle? And she's asking this because most of the faculty and dean ask the candidates to write it themselves. So what would be your tips on this and your take on this?
Yes, it is good. You get up because they don't have that much time. And I mean, then they will write a generalized letter or maybe 1 or 2 points. And if you're getting a chance, main is the time, I think. They have so much work to do. They just can't sit and draft our letters like, oh, she has to get into the school, so I have to be concentrating it. They'll do it, okay, fine, let me just finish it off. Right. And if you have like really good personal relationships with your faculty, so it's good that you get to draft the letter. They tell you to draft it and then send it to them, and they might edit few things, and that works. That almost works for 90% of the people, and that's a good opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because about you can remember lots of things. Like I did this, I did the professor might not remember. He has taught so many students. He might forget. In fact, we ourselves we forget things. Oh, I did this. Oh my God, I forgot this. Right. So sit with yourself while you're writing a letter. Suppose for example, it's with I wrote it with the endodontics department, and then starting from the first day of your school, like how you were with that professor, what else you could do. Because when you're writing a letter of the recommendation, with general things, everybody, she was good, she had these qualities, she was with leadership, all of that stuff. At least with one paragraph out of the whole letter, something that you did, like, something unique that you did in the school, any kind of, even if it was a simple clinical case that you, during your internship, you came across. And a simple, if I talk about, I think you'll want better understand from my example. So what happened was that during my internship, I had this old lady coming up. It was simple cavity. We weren't doing any root canals or something like that. But the way I communicated with her, and before that, she had gone to some other dentist, and a simple class 2 or class 1 cavities were not done properly, and she was suffering from that. And just my way of communication, way I handled her, she was so happy. And of course, with class 1, class 2s are not very difficult for us that time, right? So under the guidance of my professor, I was doing the restorations. And on the last day, I told her, Auntie, I'm so sorry you had to make so many visits, because we had to redo the things. One thing that I remember about her, that while going, she said, Harman, it was not tiring coming to you, because you would ask me, how are you doing? And then you would talk about just beyond the conversation regarding the dental thing. I was talking to her, talking about her family, knowing how she's doing, how she's coming from her home, and something. She said it was not time. I was enjoying visiting you, and in fact, this is sad that my this thing has ended. My this restorations and everything is complete. That something clicked, and I spoke to my professor about it, and I told her that because that time I needed, so I told her to tell this to my professor. So something, this was unique that I remembered, and that's something I added into my LORs, and my professor was very happy. So anything that you have done with the patients in the school, one unique thing in your LOR, please do that. Rest of the LOR can be general.
I appreciate you, Harman, and all dentists like yourself. And I think I say this in every Pathfinder. It scares me walking into a dental appointment, and I've bit my dentist's finger while I was a kid, and that fear stays with me. I'm still scared. So any time a dentist spends time with me like this, it's a godsend. So all of you out there like Harman, I appreciate you guys. Sameha, just to add on to that, something our co-founders, Dr. Nourah and Karthik, do mention quite often is that if there's any recommender of yours who says, I will write it, right? A lot of them in the US do say that, the others don't. So in case they do that, like Harman said, they won't remember the minute details because you yourself will remember. So it might be helpful for you to send like maybe a brief email to them, or to send them a text saying that, let me take the opportunity to remind you of a few instances where I learned something from you. So there's obviously a bit of people reading here where you understand your recommender. You would know whether they welcome that move or not. Like how you walk into an interview and you know how much you should let loose with this interviewer and how much you should not. So that is there, but I think there's something you can deploy to sort of remind them about your qualities as well, because your letter and your future is in their hands. So how much ever you can contribute. So yes, amazing. We're almost at time. So we'll take the last couple of questions. One question that's come from Dr. Revati Harman is, does early application matter the most, or would you recommend to wait and build your profile and then apply a bit later? What is your take?
Yes, if you can apply early, it's good, but please do not make it a big thing that, oh my God, I am out now because I cannot, because I applied almost in April end. That was the time I submitted my application, and few of them May beginning. Because from my experience, I learned that if your profile is good, if they are going to pick you even the last day, even if you submit on the last day before the deadline, they'll pick you. Do not stress on that. Please stress on strengthening your profile, presenting a very good application, like reviewing it again and again, and missing out on nothing in hurry. Don't do that, because ultimately, even if you're not presenting a good application and you missed out on things, applying early will not help you out anyways, because anyways they'll be like, okay, fine, let this application be out. So do not stress on that. It doesn't matter. It matters, but it's not like completely like, oh, if we don't, we are out. No, it's not like that.
Quality first. Absolutely.
Yes, so I feel May is a good time, like April and May, mid-May. I mean, of course, try not going beyond that, but because most of the schools, until unless suppose Alabama, they're like too early. So that's like, I think that most of them is like 30th April. So you have to yes, you have to go according to the schools as well. But mostly I think it's like 1st of June is the deadline for many of the schools. So try going by first week of May. That works.
And the great thing now is, Dr. Revati, that now it's just December, so you still have the time to, in case you're still contemplating or procrastinating, get things done this month, next month, or by February. So it's still not late for you to get started and apply on time. We'll take one last, I think we've covered everything, Harman, like all aspects of the application and all of it. There's one question about TOEFL. How much was your TOEFL score? And also if you took any support for TOEFL, or how did you prepare for it? You can talk about that.
So my score was 104. Not very high, of course, like 115 or something like that. So try going beyond 100. They do say that, that our basic eligibility is 95 or 90, but it depends upon, like, especially from India. So it depends upon, from which country are you applying. So for Indians, I would say, or for anybody, I would say at least try scoring above 100, then you're in a safe place. Then you don't need to worry about TOEFL. It's done. 101, 2, 3, 4, you're done. And help, not really. I was doing it from the YouTube videos and doing my own work. I really did not take any coaching for TOEFL.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Dr. Samiha, yes.
One last question. What was the major factor for you to choose Tufts?
Tufts, because yes, because earlier I had my one of my, not one, 2 or 3 from my own college in Tufts. So they speak highly about, especially about Dr. Ron Perry. Like, he's very much involved in the program and how the candidates are being taken care of, especially the foreign trained dentists. Even after the program finishes, like, he makes sure that the candidates get it in with the DSOs and all of that stuff, whatever the process is. So, and their clinical part is really good. And yes, that's about it. Because I had reviews from my friends, like, who were already studying there. So that was one of the big reasons that I thought I want to get into it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Amazing. This is a very packed Pathfinder, Harman, like very information oriented, and I love that. Thank you so much for giving us information in such clarity and from your experience. Thanks everyone for joining in. We're at time, so I think it's a good time to stop and pause. If you have any more questions, please email us, and if you want us to get through to Dr. Harman as well, we can route that for you. Unless, Harman, you want to share any like email ID or something like that, or we can route the questions to you. And MS and I, so Meenakshi is here, our coach. We host these sessions like interchangeably. So after every Pathfinder, we do leave the session with one central theme, right? Like something that the doctor is talking about. And I think for me in this Pathfinder with Harman, it's all about honesty and integrity. I don't think I've heard a lot of other people focus a lot on just this one thing. And I love that because it is very important. We 100% agree. The truth will be scary first, but it will eventually set you free. And I know that it's very scary to expose yourself and be vulnerable in an application where your entire life is dependent on it. But please take it from this inspiring person who came after 15 years of experience and still made it, and is an incredible role model for her children. She did tell me that that was one reason that she also did it, because now her kids can't come and say that I can't do this because their mom has done everything. I was telling her about how overachieving parents and families always both boon and bane. So she's done that for her children. So be true to your application, true to yourself. I think that's my takeaway from this, Dr. Harman. Thank you so much. Any parting words, any last, advice, anything for them before we sign off?
Yes, for everyone, because I have been through the same process, and it's a lots of hard work, lots of struggles, lots of times when you're like, oh my God, I cannot do it. My destiny is not working. This is not working, right? Just have faith. Just have faith and believe in yourself, believe in your uniqueness. We all are unique. We have been made unique by God. And one thing I would want to say is that I've learned from my own experiences that anything, any outsiders, your family or your supporting people, they can say, oh, she's doing this, she's doing lots. But by yourself that, am I doing 100%? That's more important. I knew I am doing 100%, then you can sleep at night. I gave it all. That's like, so give it all with true honesty, with full dedication, and then sleep on it. Just pray to God at the end of the day. I have done my work. Now it's your job, and it works.
Wow, you've given me weekend inspiration also to live my 100%. I was thinking maybe I should go back and sleep, but now maybe I won't. Thank you so much.
Mean literally sleeping. It's not literally. It's not go to bed. With a blanket.
No, I'm
Just
saying now
sleep
I'll go
and
live my
just
100% on Saturday, so that you've given me the fuel for that. So thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. So I think it's a good point to sign off. Thank you again so much, Harman, for coming on, and
Thank
good
you.
luck with the
Yes.
travel, everything else that awaits you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. And best wishes to everyone. If I can do staying in my country and with so many limitations, you all can do. Do not compare yourself. Everybody is the best. You'll get it.
that's amazing. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Harman.
for your time. Thank you, Flynn. Thank you so much.
Of course, a pleasure is ours.
Thank you.